Welcome to As Real as They Come with Jennifer Loading,
Yulia Brown,
and we are here at the Turkish Cafe and Lounge in Plano. And we want to say to you, be sure you subscribe to our YouTube page, hit that button. What are we doing today, Yulia?
and please hit like as well.
Yes, hit the like button.
Oh, just like, whatever works. We will always appreciate any sort of feedback, positive, negative, because negative will allow us to do something more positive for you guys. But I would love to introduce our fabulous, wonderful guests today. We got Jenny and Steve Henderson with First Choice Inspection. And we're going to talk about a lot of interesting stuff, so make sure you sit tight, get yourself a little wine, because we are enjoying it on this beautiful, muggy yet refreshing afternoon. And we are ready to get started. All right, guys. So please tell us about yourselves. Tell us how you got started and what is driving this First Choice Inspections machine.
I'm going to let him talk.
Well, we got started about 14 years ago. I had a background in construction industry and just decided that, I didn't want to work that much labor, in the field, and tried to turn it around to something a little more educated with the inspection business, and we've been going strong ever since.
Wow, that's impressive.
Well, thank you.
So, for the people that buy in a house, I know a lot of people on the edge, whether inspection, a lot of people get it confused with appraisal. It's like, if I'm doing appraisal, what's my difference with inspection?
Right.
Can y'all help us to differentiate, and what is the difference there?
Sure. With the home inspection, so basically what we're doing is we're going to show you the condition of the home. So we're going to tell you, what components of the house may need some work, some improvements that can be made, and then we're also looking for safety issues a lot of times. So we pay a lot of attention to things that are fire hazards, things that are safety hazards, things like that. So we want to make sure and give you a safe household to move into. You sleep better at night knowing that you have that peace of mind of, oh my God, we're not going to hear the smoke alarms go off and all have to congregate outside. So we're testing those kind of components, just making sure that your home is safe, and making sure that you don't have that big surprise. That money pit surprise. Oh my God, my dream home has become my nightmare. So
money pit.
The money pit.
Money
Yes,
pit, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's absolutely, like you mentioned, you're lucky if you are hearing the smoke alarm, because that's something you guys
Right.
also will inspect and make
Yes,
sure it's
sure.
in the operating order.
Absolutely.
And whatever the Uncle Bob did with
Yes.
those copper wires between the
Exactly.
walls, that might be questionable.
Yes.
Right.
Wow, that's impressive. What about the new construction? Let's say a person bought a house and they say, well, I bought brand new, pristine
Right.
property from the builder.
Yes.
Right. So that's a very popular question that we get.
We actually do a lot of new construction.
Yeah, so my background is actually as a general contractor, so I kind of had some inside, views into that industry, and that's one of the things that I really try to specialize in is the new construction. What a lot of people don't understand, and of course their builders, many times we'll just tell them, you don't need an inspection.
Yeah, they
the
do.
city inspectors are going to look at
Right.
it, and by no means do you need an inspection. And that right there
That's
in
a red
itself
flag.
is a red
That's a
flag.
red flag.
You should be like, anyone that tells me I don't need an inspection, I probably should
Probably
get
need
it.
one, yeah.
So some builders some builders actually like our service and use it as a punch list, and use it as, we want to keep our customers happy. But others are, very reluctant to have us come out. And so, but what a lot of people don't understand is, especially if you've been around the DFW area, you notice that whenever new construction is going on, a lot of the subdivisions, you will see 500, 1,000 homes. I mean, they're huge.
All at
So
one time
all these
going up.
master plan communities, So what it does, it puts a real tax on the municipal city inspectors. So where they get a work order to do 30 inspections in a day, I do too. So
Yeah.
you can see they just don't have the time to spend on each individual house, and plus they're going by very minimal standard that they're checking for. It's not near as thorough.
It's like hiring a realtor. You think you're gonna use the seller's reel to save yourself a buck,
Right.
But your fiduciary duties are not to
Right, they're not in
that
line.
kind.
Right,
So
right.
It's not
the
to
same
that
for
client.
city inspector. They're more focused on getting the certificate
Right.
of occupancy.
Right.
Exactly.
You're exactly right.
They're
That's
not
the
really-
same. They're not working for the buyer.
They're not working for the buyer. So get
Yeah.
yourself your own realtor, get yourself your own inspector, and
Yes.
make sure that your property is fixed up and up to code. Tell us about the codes. What is this thing like code, up to code? What is that?
That's difficult. They
So
change.
basically, codes change, every few years. So if you had a home that you bought in, say, 2016, 2017, there's already things that are out of code on that house. So, to expect, basically any home to be 100% up to code, it's almost going to have to be new construction. And so a lot of times we have to, it's very much like vehicles. So if you think about vehicles, we're constantly upgrading, trying to make things safer, trying to make things more efficient. The same holds true for homes. So, homes that were built in the 80s, they're still going to, give you a nice place to live. You're still going to be in good shape, but we can't expect them to have every feature and every
Right, it's
safety
new ones.
code that a new home would have. So that's
a good
kind of one of those.
explanation.
That is
It's
good.
kind of like
That is
if you have a vehicle that has airbags, it still goes down the road. If you have a vehicle that doesn't,
Yeah.
so
You just got to make sure
you
it
just-
is working properly.
yeah,
And it sets your
Yeah.
expectations.
Right. Right.
exactly.
I have
Right.
a question for you guys. So with this whole, COVID thing that's going on and
Uh-huh.
everything, how is business? How is this affecting you guys, or are you staying busy and still people are still buying homes? And
Yeah, it's affecting us very good. We're very
I
busy.
love that.
Very busy.
That-
Yeah,
I love
I
that.
think people are thinking, okay, I'm going to be in my house. How long am
Yeah.
I going to be in my house? I need a bigger house.
Yeah.
So
people are wanting more security.
they want more security.
They don't
Yeah.
want
People are
to be.
staying home more.
They don't want to be in an apartment complex with
Yeah.
a neighbor
Yeah.
2 feet.
Right.
to
No, I
the
think
left
that's
of
great.
them.
Yeah.
been
No,
great
that's
for-
good to hear
it's been
because
good.
so many people are affected by this, and I think that if you're in that space where you are able to thrive in this,
Right.
then yes, thrive. Right.
Yes.
I
Right,
love
right.
hearing that. So
Yes.
that's awesome.
It's been good.
And also, I heard the pool sales went up 30% as well.
Oh,
Don't
really?
doubt
Everybody
that at
wants
all.
to get a pool now?
We
Yeah.
actually,
Public
Might be a good
pools
time
are
to get a
closed,
pool,
so people are
yes.
like, I need a pool.
it's funny
Yeah,
you say
especially
that.
today, right? Day like this.
Yeah, right.
I know.
Yeah, we were actually looking to buy a hot tub at our house, and it's 3 months out. You got
Wow.
to pre-order
So,
them.
yeah.
Yeah.
Those types of sales are going through the roof.
That's
You're right.
awesome. to hear.
Absolutely, wow.
Yeah.
So do you guys do the pool inspections as well?
Yes, we do.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And what is the entitled, like, what is there for the pool inspection? Why is it important to get?
So the swimming pool has so many different types of components. There are so many different types of pool builders, if you will, and there's not really an exact industry standard. So, you could have very expensive components, and then you could buy something very inexpensive and replace those when they break. So to be able to test those properly, is really important
Yeah,
because
you won't know till you get in there.
Yeah,
and
sure.
I've done all ranges. I've done the most exotic swimming pools, and I've done the ones that, oh my gosh, what in the world did they do here?
Glorified puddle.
I actually did one a few weeks ago, and for a day like today, it would have been perfect. This pool not only had a heater, but it had a chiller.
A chiller.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be
Oh,
nice?
So
wow.
if you wanted the water cooler,
Yeah,
you just set the
chiller.
temperature and it chills the
Sounds
water
good
down.
right now,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It does. It does.
We have a big pool at the house, but it's one of those volleyball pools, so
Okay.
it's not
Right.
very deep.
Right.
Yeah.
You get in, and I'm like, why am I in this hot tub? That's a giant hot tub. I'm like,
They are, yeah.
funny.
They can get like
Well,
that.
we also do septic inspections as well.
Okay.
Septic inspections,
Those are-
termite inspections.
Those are fun.
Right, yeah. Yeah. I didn't know y'all did all that. That's awesome.
So how do you inspect septic tank? It's like in the ground.
Well, the first step is rubber gloves, if you can imagine. Okay, so you put this one, you put this, maybe a mask, you know, that sort of thing. So we're basically just testing the components of it. It's very similar to the pool. There's a lot of different components.
Yeah.
It's basically like having a water treatment plant in your backyard,
Yeah.
if you will. Okay, so
Yeah.
we got to test those things, make sure that it's getting the right amount of chlorine, make sure that you know, that it's not over full.
Right.
You don't want to go to the ones that are over full
Right.
because it backs up into your drain in the house. You know,
Yeah, we've
and-
had
I've
that
got many
happen.
calls
Don't
from
Not
that.
a pool you want to have.
yeah, you don't want brown toenails if you catch my drift.
Oh gosh.
I'm
Absolutely
thinking about this
not.
because when I was growing up, we had a swimming pool and we had like
You had a
my
septic?
my parents had their own their own septic tank. I remember all this. So, but you're right on that one. You don't want it coming back.
That's it. That's it.
You
Our
don't
viewers
want
did
it.
not know we're testing integrity of their stomachs right now.
That's good.
I'm sorry. Bad inspector. Bad
I have a
inspector.
fun
no,
question
this
for you
is
guys.
awesome.
I have a fun question for you guys because you guys work as a couple, which I think is so fun. So, because that is hard to do for a lot of people. I mean, a lot of people working together, you know, in a couple,
Yes.
that's hard. So, what do you guys love about what you get to do? What's the best part about this?
Oh my goodness.
I love the freedom that we have.
Yeah.
I mean, I can-
That's one of the biggest things.
That's
That's
the
one of the
best
biggest
thing.
reasons that I wanted to do home inspections is because the actual extra time that we would get to spend together, you know, as opposed
Yeah.
to the you know 50, 60, 70 hour weeks in construction,
Yeah.
you know, even having to sometimes go out of town for construction and, you know,
Yeah.
being away for days at a time. So this has really allowed us to even bring our family on board. You know, our my son and my daughter both worked for the company in high school as their what would you call
know, when
it?
they take that class where
work,
they have to have-
work
Yeah.
education,
Yeah.
basically get off school at noon
Yes,
program.
yes. I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
That
Yes,
sort of thing.
yes.
So they both worked with the company, and it's been really nice. It's
Like
been great for the
internship.
family.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes, it's like an internship.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. I think that's why I wanted to ask that because that is a very unique thing that you guys are doing that together. But it does take a lot of discipline and patience,
Right.
and you know, and you guys have been married for a really long time too.
Communication.
So I'm impressed with all of that, and I think
Thank
it's
you.
great that your kids have been a part of that because not only that, you have given them kind of the whole. They've learned from watching you and
Sure.
be an entrepreneur and,
Right.
and operate
Right.
and do things like that. So there's
Right.
a lot of life skills that have come
There
with
is,
that.
yeah, because you have to be disciplined to have your own business. Because you know, when it's time to work, you have to work. You know,
Yes, exactly. You
When
have
you
to tell
don't,
yourself.
yeah, you have to. Even if you're sitting at home,
You don't have that
know?
person saying you got to show up at this time. Like, you
Right,
gotta do
nobody's
that.
telling you what to do.
Right.
Yeah,
There's
That's
gr-
wonderful. Yeah.
Yeah, there's grades in both. I tell all the time. I mean, I think it's you get that the autonomy. I think, and y'all will agree with that. It's the autonomy that we all want. We want that freedom,
Right.
To be able, I would say, to move about the cabin.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
for
for real.
sure.
Check in when we want, check out. So
Right.
I
Right.
think
And
I
it's
think that's awesome.
refreshing to hear because nowadays in our quote unquote pretentious world, it's well, I can't work with him. I can't work with her. I will kill him. I will.
Right.
Right.
And
Right.
it's refreshing to hear that, you know what, relationship integrity goes deeper than just, hey, how are you doing? How your day went? Great.
Yeah.
And one goes in one
Right.
room and the other one's
Right.
watching TV.
Right, right.
You actually have something to talk about.
Right.
And
For sure.
you
Yeah.
have this union that goes deeper than just like,
Right.
I'm just here, he's here, and then
Right,
and that's how
right.
people grow
I see
apart.
what you mean. Yeah,
We don't have sit-down dinners anymore.
That's true.
We don't have that family time connecting, and I think this
Right.
is
You're
the
right.
perfect quality time
It is.
to build the relationship, teach your children healthy habits,
Right.
how relationships should be.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Partnership, a true partnership
Right.
instead of a power struggle. That's
Right.
beautiful.
Right, right.
I really love that.
and more
You
wine.
know what else,
Thank
though,
you.
I think that's great about what they're doing, though? They've learned to capitalize on their strengths.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, we've talked about this
We
before.
have talked about that.
Yes, and this is
have.
my part that I always get into, because these two, they do very different things within their organization. They have
Yes.
different roles, and I think that we've talked about this before, and I
Yeah.
think that's what makes it work, because they're not both trying to do the exact same thing.
Right, we're
They're
not.
both not like saying, let me be the person that's going to talk to the people, let me
Right.
be the inspector. You guys have worked that out. So maybe share that a little. Tell us how y'all do that, because I think that's
The
huge.
dynamics. Yeah.
Now you're
Yeah.
getting into all the secret areas.
We like the secret area.
Because, for me, a lot of times I'll be like, honey, I need you to call them and work through
And work
this
this
part
out.
of it.
Yes.
Because I'm the inspector and that's not
He said,
my
"I need a
portion.
buffer there.
So
I need a
I need
buffer
that
there."
buffer between, where my specialty is and basically the customer service that she
Right.
can offer without it being, coming from me. And
Right.
that's one thing that has really been helpful for me is that I don't have to play every role. And a lot of home inspectors do
And that's
play
very
every role.
stressful, very
They play the
stressful.
role
Absolutely.
of marketing. They play the role of administrator. They play the role of inspector, and all of that. And so that's one of the things that has helped us out a lot is to
Yeah.
kind of delegate those things
Well,
out.
I enjoy
and-
talking to people.
Right.
We can go to lunch and sit
Yeah.
there and talk for an hour. How long did we talk that first time we met for coffee?
Oh my goodness, I don't know.
I don't know.
It was a while. We both had appointments, so we had to leave. It was like, oh,
Right.
we gotta go.
I mean, I just
So
enjoy talking with people.
what you guys don't realize is that Jenny's personality is extremely shy, and
She told me, I know.
She knows
Yes,
that.
yes.
she has really blossomed
Huh?
through doing business development.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny. She's told me before. She says, "Well, I do enjoy making good money like this." So I've learned
meeting
to
new people.
open up
Right.
and get over that fear
Oh, yeah.
of public speech, that fear of
Getting-
That's
meeting
my
in
main
groups,
thing that really
networking,
freaks
things
me
like
out is
that.
thinking I got to get in front of, because I was a realtor for
People.
12 years in Abilene where we're from, and so when they would say, okay, everybody talk about their listing of the week, and everybody's in a room, that was when you had an office meeting and everybody
Yes.
showed up, and there was a room of about 50 people, and I was like, I have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house.
Well, and I think that's so interesting, because we're going to get off on another tangent here, but I was really shy for a long time, so I can absolutely
relate to
I
that?
can relate to what you're talking
You
about.
were what?
I was shy. I just
I did better with one-on-one. I mean, and
I do too.
I still do better with. That's why I
Yeah.
loved when I go meet with a new real estate agent. I want to go talk with them one-on-one.
Right.
Because I feel like I get more attention. It's hard when you're in a big room with a networking event when there's a lot of people. I mean, we do it,
Right.
and it does work. But I like to be one-on-one.
You can build relationships.
Yeah,
with
you can
that
build a
way.
relationship.
So,
It's
and I
not
agree
just,
with you on
it's
that.
not just, hey, you want an inspection. It's more, I know about their kids, their family. Or he'll ask, who's that realtor? I'm like, oh, that's that one with
Oh
that
my
daughter,
gosh.
or that's her husband.
She has the most rock solid memory. She can tell you like, oh, that girl has an uncle and he lives here,
That's
and they just got
awesome.
married,
That's
and they
a
have
gift.
a
Yeah, that's
they
why you
have
need
this
to
mama
gather.
child
Yeah.
there, and I'm like, okay.
Those are important
'Cause
details.
I don't.
Well,
My
they are.
mind
Don't
doesn't
you guys
think
like
in
it when
that
somebody
manner.
remembers things about you
Yeah.
that you've been,
Yeah, you need to.
For
You got to
sure.
remember their
Makes you feel
hamster.
important.
Personal touch, and
Yeah.
us humans,
Right.
that's how all this media, all this little fancy gadgets,
Right.
but
Right.
nobody is going to replace belly to belly.
Right,
Yeah.
and I think that's
100%.
what sets us
Right,
apart
right.
is the personal touch and customer service. Because we
Yeah.
talk to everybody and make sure they're taken care of, and we are concerned. We're not just like, this is a big company and we're just trying to do as many as we can at
Right.
one time.
Right.
We want to make sure that everybody gets the best inspection for the money that they spend.
That's
Yeah.
a prime example of personal growth when you get out of comfort zone. Too.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Oh my
Because-
God, yes.
Because if you want to grow, you have to push yourself. You can have somebody pushing you, but you also pushing yourself
Right.
to, okay, today I spoke in front of 2 people, tomorrow it's going to be 10. The day
Right,
after.
right.
I mean, once you get past 20 people, it's like,
It's,
give me
it's
time.
easy.
Yeah, give me a bunch.
I don't care. Let's
I think I
talk
had
about
that.
it.
You just keep talking, you get over it after a while. You just
You
don't
do.
even care, right? That's what I was saying.
The
You don't
first
even care
event I
anymore.
went to, I had to talk myself in about 10, 15 minutes in the car to get out. I was like, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to talk to people.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, I always
Yeah.
feel like, and this is something that I've always said when you're in those moments, because I think we like beat ourselves up more than anybody else
Yeah, of
does,
course.
right?
We're always
and
more
I always
critical of
say,
ourselves.
exactly. And so I always say, like, when you do that, like when you step out and you do that,
Yeah.
like you're doing like way better than majority of the people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there are speaking is like a really high fear. It's
Yeah,
like
it
a
is.
big fear for a lot
It
of
is.
people.
It
so
is, absolutely.
Yes, it is.
there's power in that.
And I
There
love how
is.
Steve uses Jenny as a secret weapon. I'm pretty sure people want to hear about their septic tank from her.
Right now.
Jenny is the face of the company.
She is.
Very pretty face. So.
Yes.
And then the mascot is little Misa. So
Oh yeah, our little dog.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh,
I love
that's
it.
adorable.
I
Yeah.
love it.
So you mentioned realtors, and I'm sure you guys work closely with a lot of them.
Yes.
What is sets your company apart from most companies out there? What do you offer that most people probably do not offer on the market?
So one of the things that I sometimes talk about, not normally on the first meeting with an agent, but you know, if we've done work for them several times, they begin to understand that that I was actually married and am still married to a previous agent.
A real estate
So
agent. Yeah.
I've got to hear a lot of the ins and outs of the real estate business
Sure.
through a different lens than just as a home inspector. And that was one of the things that I wanted to do early on in my education. So I did actually go and get my own real estate license
Okay.
so that I could
Yeah.
see how all of the transaction looked from the sidelines. And I've had it inactive ever since, but it allowed me to really understand the importance of how to explain things to a buyer without causing
to
this
be
huge
alarmed.
alarm
Yeah.
that you know, the real estate transaction seems like it is always a very emotional event.
It is.
The largest investment.
It's the
for
largest
most people.
investment.
You
Yeah.
know, it's the time in your life where you have some of the highest of highs and some of the lowest of lows all during the course of that transaction.
Wow.
And so the emotions that go along with that, you can easily, you know, trigger those types of emotions by, you know, just explaining things in the wrong manner.
Very
And so,
much.
you know, I really pay a lot of attention to the consultation and make sure that the inspection is thorough, make sure that all of the items are coming out, but at the same time, you know, allowing people to know, okay, you know, this is normal. If we looked at 10 houses on this block, 9 of them would have this issue, and
Right.
maybe the 10th has been repaired.
I would
So-
say one thing, he's really good with first-time home buyers too. He's
Okay.
really good at putting them at ease and showing them what needs to be fixed because they don't know if
Right.
something is important or not. And he will say, hey, look, this is what you need to fix, this is what you don't.
And I do try to do that during the course of the consult, try to prioritize, you know, this is a top level priority. This is just normal, like a scratch
Right,
on a
down
used
the
car,
road.
Yeah.
you know, that sort of
If
thing.
your
So,
septic tank is messed up, we need to get
Yeah,
that.
we need to get that fixed.
That's
yeah.
top priority.
yes.
Absolutely. No brown toes.
That's right.
So, and we mentioned also how it is an emotional process.
It is.
Right.
For especially first-time home buyers.
For sure.
But would presence of the first-time home buyer or buyer whatsoever, would that be recommended during your inspection, or would it be more of a distraction and detour from what
So-
you're trying to do?
We have a system that we
Yeah.
do.
So the way that we tried to, well, you could probably tell this. This is more of your scheduling
Well,
type of stuff.
We try to make it to where the inspector goes in there and he does the inspection, and then let him be not distracted by the buyer over here, you know, asking questions. Let him make sure he gets a thorough inspection, and then the last 30 minutes, I have the buyer. I make sure and tell them, hey, you need to come towards the end so he can get through the inspection, and then at the end he'll go over the consultation, and then he'll go over the report, show them all the photos and everything, and then when they have questions, then they can ask. You know,
Makes
So a
and
good,
it works really
a good
well.
way
Yeah.
to think about this, especially if you're is the analogy of the doctor's appointment.
Yeah.
So if you're going to get a doctor's exam, you don't want to bring your aunt, your uncle, your best friend,
Yeah.
the
This is
dog,
true.
and
that
all
does
these
happen
things during
sometimes.
this time. You want to allow the doctor to, you know, be able to check
Examine.
everything out. So, you know, it's one of those things where we try to prep people. Of course, if they insist and they want to spend
Yeah, you
the
can come if
entire
you want
time
to.
with
If you
us,
want to come, you can.
it's fine.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, your inspection will be more thorough if
you're
we
not
can
there.
concentrate
Right.
100%
Well, yeah.
on the
Yeah.
inspection.
Makes
Because it will be
sense.
more of a disservice to themselves for
Yes.
themselves going
Yeah.
in there and like, hey, what about that scratch? What about
Right,
that heater? Is that
right.
gonna blow up? It's like, no.
I tell them that you're going to really not have a lot to do, and you might be a little bored because he's not going to be able to talk to you because he's going to be
Right.
checking everything.
consumed
Yeah.
with his
Yeah.
Right.
project.
So
A lot of times they say, I want to follow your every move. And I say,
Oh goodness.
okay,
yeah.
no problem. The ladder is setting up. Just come on up on the rooftop with me if you like. We'll put on our suits and go under the house if you like. Usually about 10 minutes in, they go, oh my God, I don't want to
I don't
follow
wanna follow
every
you."
move.
Yeah, they're over
It's
it.
a very,
Like, you
boring
got
thing for
this
them.
on your own.
Yeah,
So-
you lost me on the crawling under something.
Oh yeah.
I'm out. Check
no,
out.
no.
Well, Jenny is best at crawl spaces.
That's what he always says. You know, that's not true.
Yeah. I wouldn't be good at that either.
No.
I'm starting to think of
She's
like a horror movie right
I
now.
know,
Flashlight
right?
from far over here.
Yes.
Isn't there like an alligator movie
Can I
where they
send
were
a
in crawl
drone down
spaces?
in there? Yeah.
I'm not
Probably
looking
the
forward.
scariest thing that I've ever seen in a crawl space was a very mad cat.
A mad cat.
Oh
That
yeah,
had-
when you can't move.
They
you
had
can't,
a
you
litter
can't
of
move around quick.
kittens under the house, and when I hit my flashlight on their eyes, she made this sound, and I exited.
You're like, I'm out. Check out.
Goodbye.
Yes.
So, when we touched a little bit on new construction, and
Uh-huh.
let's say you bought your house, you've done your inspection, and the builder says, okay, you have a year to do this, this,
Right.
and that. Would you recommend just to call a builder for every little nick and dent, or should they just finish with the end of the year and just get one full report and
Yeah.
get the
Yes.
builder?
So what you're asking or hitting on is what is commonly known as your 11-month inspection. So you've probably heard that term.
Yeah.
It's basically okay. This is our last chance to get these little things and these
Through the home
big
warranty,
things.
too, as well.
If that right before the home warranty runs out on the builder, and we definitely do a lot of those. You would be surprised at how much can change in a new home over just that short of a time
Oh,
Yeah,
period.
it can.
Well,
you're living in it.
We've seen massive foundation movement, over those short periods of time, and it's just because the way our weather is. We're either in a drought or a flood, one of the two.
I know, right?
Right.
But if we can catch that ahead of time like that, it's very easy to have that repaired before your warranty runs out on it. So
Yeah.
it's very, very important to make sure and check that. There are systems that will fail and go out. If we can catch that early on, then we save you a lot of money.
Well, that's very useful information. I'm pretty sure that our viewers love it and probably making
Yes.
some notes. I hope they are. Or they're keeping our video as a reference.
Yes.
Right.
But I would like to hear, what is the most fun inspection y'all ever did?
Oh my goodness, the most
He's
fun.
done so many inspections.
Do we have time?
We
Go
always
for it.
have
Do you
time.
really have time? Because this may take 3 to 5 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Go for
You
it.
ready?
Go for it.
Go for it.
So about 6 years ago, I get a phone call. We do commercial inspections. Okay, I get this phone call, and the gentleman says, "I have
Oh, I know
5
what this is.
properties that I need you to take care of." I said, "Okay. What are these 5 properties?" And he tells me that these are funeral homes. He's buying 5.
With residents or without?
He's buying
They're empty.
5.
They're
He's
empty.
buying 5 funeral
they're in a
homes.
small town
Okay, and
off
they're
in the middle of
they're,
nowhere.
they're actually in different towns all around West Texas area.
But little bitty towns, like in the middle of nowhere.
So I go to the first inspection. I line these up over a 2-day time period. I go to the first inspection, and I get there, and funeral homes are not well staffed every day of the week, 8 or 10 hours a day. So there's just someone there that unlocks the door, lets me in.
I thought it was empty.
They
I
don't
guess
tell
not.
me anything about this funeral home, so I do my thing. I start. I'm going around. I walked through this door, and there was someone on the table.
Oh.
And it's right there, and they don't dress the dead, if you know what I mean. Okay.
Wow.
So it was really a weird type of thing to see. So I get through that, I do the other two, I'm good to go. So the next day I have 2 left to do.
So I'm guessing the other guy was not opening the door for you.
Oh no, he didn't give me any information.
Goodness.
Rude.
So you know, for the essence of time, I'll jump to the last one that I did. I pull up at it, and it's starting. This is kind of in the fall, so it's.
Is this the one that's empty? Nobody's
Yes.
there?
So I get there, and I have just enough time with daylight to do the exterior, right? And now I have to finish the entire interior of this place, which is a fair size.
In
With the
dark,
sound boxes
in the
and
dark.
stuff, trying to
I know,
get
I'm
you
This-
starting to think there's like, yeah, making
This
myself
was
like really creepy here.
This was a 1930s plantation style home that had been converted into a funeral home. Okay, and the entire downstairs was where they did their business. Okay, and I walked upstairs, and I get upstairs, and I'm not kidding you. I look, and there is furniture all through this place with sheets over it.
Yeah, it's a little eerie. And it's getting dark.
Okay, and it's getting dark, and I am in a very small town, right? So anyway,
Yeah.
so I'm walking through, and I
he called
called
Jenny?
Yeah, he's
called
calling
Jenny.
me Jenny.
I said, honey, this
I
is
just need
kind
to
of
call you."
weird. Okay, there's a whole room of caskets in the first floor. There's an embalming room. Okay, and now I'm on the second floor, and it looks like every horror movie you've ever seen. So I worked my way through that. I'm all finished. I'm like, okay, great. I'm done. And I'm just making my last little round. And I found the basement.
The basement.
And it's nighttime. And
And so
wait,
I
it's
don't
July.
know.
It's
I don't-
July. It's hot.
No, it wasn't that. Well, anyway.
It was hot.
So this is the deal. So I went down into the basement. And I called Jenny a second time. I said, I have to do the basement. This is so bad. The lights did not work in the basement. So I had to use my flashlight. So I do my flashlight. I'm hoping and praying that there's nothing at
Like
all
nothing's
in
coming
this
out of the
basement. I'm thinking,
I
I'm
forgot
hoping,
all about this story.
please, nothing be
like,
in the
what am I
basement.
waiting for something here?
So I do my light, and boom, there is a furnace unit at the back of this basement.
Just like the movies.
So I have to go and check it. I've got to inspect this furnace. I've got to take pictures of it. I've got to document. I've got to do all
the
of this.
growling sound.
yeah.
So, okay, this is so bad. Okay,
Every
and
horror
I
movie.
don't know where you're at with any of this, but just, this was very weird. I went all the way down the steps. I turned the corner, and I'm not kidding you one bit. There was a blast of cold air that went past me. Every
But
hair
it was
stood up
hot.
on my
It was
arm.
hot. It was July.
And it was warm down there. There was no air conditioning in that area. A blast of cold air. All of my hair stood up on my. I called
you
Jenny
called
again.
Jenny?
I called Jenny again, and I said, "This is what we call
I said,
a
just
limitation."
get out of there. Just get out of there.
And
Just,
so
just
I
leave.
document. There is a limited inspection in the basement, and I left.
Oh, I'd have been out of there with the lights out part. Like,
It
yeah.
was a very
It was
freaky
very
deal.
odd. Yeah.
I bet.
really
Yeah,
was.
no horror in there.
I was a realtor back in the day, and I also showed a house in Itasca. So
Uh-huh.
it was a 6,000 square foot home. So if somebody out of our viewers bought that house, or knows something, I
Don't
would-
say the address.
Well, I would love to actually learn more about it because
Right.
it was phenomenal home.
Oh, okay,
6,000
okay.
square
Yeah,
feet,
that's big.
3 stories,
Wow.
$99,000.
Oh my god.
That was 7 years ago, 8 years ago. No, I'm lying. It was about 5 years ago. And I'm walking through with my investors.
Mm-hmm.
We went through the back, and again, like a horror movie,
It
Right.
was a little,
everything is intact.
Oh my gosh.
really.
Beautiful hardwood
Oh my
floors.
gosh.
Oh wow.
Wood framing from like early 1900s.
Right.
Wow.
I'm telling you, when I got to the banister, which we actually approached,
I bet it was beautiful.
It was
So ornate.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
But I had to hold on to the banister because I had an energy surge walk right
Yes.
through me.
Oh my
I
goodness.
had to hold on. There was like my electric shock. My knees got weak. I was
So
like,
you had the same
Okay,
experience.
so you
I
know
had-
exactly
I
what I'm talking
exactly.
He
about.
That's
called
what-
me and he was freaking out and he was like, I just wanted to call and talk to somebody and make sure that that was really real. He was like, I can't believe I felt a rush of cold air and it was hot down there.
Yeah, there was no reason or
well,
explanation.
I'm an
of it.
empath. It was so crowded with whatever
Right,
energy was
right,
in there
right,
in
right.
that other house.
Yeah.
Yes.
That my two guys I've been with, that they felt a lot of action, especially when we got to the third floor. I started flipping through the pictures, and that's a story for probably a different show. But it was nothing but orbs in the
Oh,
pictures.
wow.
Like, you know,
That's
sometimes
crazy.
you'll take a picture, there's
Yeah.
one orb. Like,
Right,
right,
no,
right.
this is orbs.
Oh my.
That's odd.
It's phenomenal looking home, and I found out later it was sold, so I'm kind of like curious to find
Yeah,
out
you wanna find out
who
about
bought
it.
and
Right,
who
right.
have they had any experience?
Huh.
Because those things do come real, whether we
Yes.
believe or
They
not,
do.
they'll still confront
Well,
us.
that's
at some
his
point.
most interesting inspection I
That's
think ever.
yeah.
amazing
Ever.
story.
It will make
Thank
you a believer when you witness it firsthand.
Thank
you
you
know.
for sharing that.
Sure,
Wow, that's
absolutely.
exquisite. Well, I would like to thank our guests, Jenny and
Yes.
Steve Henderson with First Choice Home Inspection. Also, thank the owners of this beautiful establishment, Turkish Cafe and Lounge. I've been sneaking up a little bit of great meat hookah during
There
our
we go.
conversation. And thank you for watching. Please make sure to hit like, subscribe, and make sure to comment so we know what you guys think and make changes or just stay the same awesome selves. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.